Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, whatever it is, wherever you're from. I'd like to welcome everybody to the very first installment of what I'm going to be calling Brewing with the Boys, a new series where I pick some player who knows a deck, is good with the deck, has performed well with the deck, or at least has a good thought in their head about how the deck should perform, and we're going to go over different things about it, like how it does, how the decks perform for them, and how they see the deck evolving in the future. Today, for number one, we have the man, the myth, the legend, KO King Cards, aka Lucas. He took this Unison Cooler deck to nationals and went 6-3.
Yeah.
6-3. Okay. So we're going to start off by taking a look at his list, which he lovingly called Coolers and Wonderful War Crimes in Bosnia.
You got to keep it classic.
I know, keep it classic. So if you want to go ahead and just kick us off, like what made you decide to play this deck? Like what drew you to it, and how you thought it performed overall?
Okay. So the thing with why I play this deck, especially for Nats, was there was a couple factors. So I went a little bit in depth on like my post Nat stream about it, but the main takeaways were that everyone was preparing for Red Sin and Red SS4s, right?
Yep.
And what were the decks that everyone was using to like counteract those?
The blue decks and things like
Blue
that.
decks, right? Blue decks. So Gamma, we saw that
Yep.
at Europe with Big O. Shout out to him for that, taking it home.
Great performance there, yeah.
Then we had SS3 that we knew was going to be another prominent one. Beerus, I didn't think it was going to be as prominent as it was going to be, but that anniversary support, there was way more Beeruses than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm just like, maybe we'll see Vegeta ramp as well, too. I did not consider Crimson, which
Nobody did.
Nobody did, right?
Yeah.
So the thing with Cooler is it's good against blue in general.
Yeah.
And if I faced a Crimson, it would have been probably fine, just because Crimson does struggle against hand control, and the Cooler deck, either using my build, which isn't really a hand control build, but just has hand control elements, it's just super aggro and super fast, was another reason why with Gamma as well, too. Gamma, there also is a little different point to it as well, which I'll get to. But all the things with blue decks, obviously, the longer they go, the easier it is for the blue deck.
Yep.
This deck can kill. I killed someone turn 2 with this deck at Nats, but turn 3 is like your optimal. You're killing somebody.
Yeah.
And just from how much value you get from one energy in this deck, it's ridiculous. And I know everyone with this deck, it's Golden Frieza, especially my opponents. That's what their thinking is coming down. They're playing around that. I'm just going to, especially with some new support that Green's got, that Golden Frieza did not come down too much. It definitely did win me a couple of games, but that was not the main point behind the deck. But it's literally, it was thinking what's going to be prevalent. It's going to be SS4 and Sin. I need a deck that can at least stand up to them and go at least 50-50, which it does have a pretty good matchup against SS4 because Green, charismatic, you can KO that card they're going to combo and make them combo a card from hand for their effect.
Right.
So you slow down their plussing. And Sin was still a hard matchup. It was just kind of coin flip with that. But I was ready for having a lot of blue players come and try to stop Sin in that. I'm just like, well, what stops blue? Hand control, green, any super aggro stuff early on stops it up too, which obviously they designed their decks to stop the early aggro from Sin and SS4, so it was just a little mix of both.
And I fell into that trap. As much as I'm a very hardcore green player, I fell into the trap of there's going to be mostly Sin and SS4. So I decided to go take a blue deck to nationals, which after about 4 rounds I immediately regretted because it was just blue mirrors all day. Like I played a Vegito in round 2, but other than that, it was a blue mirror, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. I was like, this is not what I wanted to do. I should have brought a green deck. And you can talk to everybody who was there with me. Like after every round, I was like, I should have just played a green deck. Any green deck, it doesn't matter, just a green deck.
Yeah, that was. I'm trying to think. Out of the 9 rounds, I think 2 rounds were red, one were yellow, the rest was blue.
Yeah.
There was so much blue, and it was just like I think it was round 8. The guy I sat across from was playing Beerus, and then it was just like the whole table was just either like blue or SS4 and Sin. And he looked at, he's like, I have to play against the one green player. Are you kidding me? I was like, I'm sorry, man.
So you think overall, like after the way it performed for you there, that this is still like before we get into all the new support that just got revealed, that it's a good solid pick for the upcoming meta?
I think so. I think there's a lot of things that have come out recently. This is still before we're even talking about the reveals, which I think at least 2 of them I think are super super good for my version of the deck. I
Yeah.
know maybe your version that one of them might work better with your style of deck, but the big one was with how I knew this deck was going to be like still meta relevant was the SGR for green,
Oh,
because that's
absolutely.
another thing that completely destroys like SS4 early. If you get rid of that Gogeta Unison as soon as they get it down, because they're
Yep.
gonna have 4 markers, you swing into it, combo that SGR, pay 1 energy, the other
Yeah.
3 markers are gone. Gamma, same thing. They're gonna awaken and then waste that Unison right away.
Yep.
Majin Buu doesn't stand a chance. Like Buu Unison, everyone complains about that. It's gone with 1 attack and 1 combo from your leader.
Yep.
Like it's that was another big thing with this deck, where I was just like, you know what? I think this new support is going to be really good. And everyone kept telling me Black Smoke Dragon, Black Smoke Dragon. Like, that hurts the deck. It's not great when someone Black Smoke Dragon you, like, dragons you, but you're kind of like, who cares? You spent
Yeah.
2 energy to warp a Unison. I'm not going to get the draw because it doesn't go to the drop, which, oh, sure, that sucks.
Yeah.
But you spent 2 energy to waste something that I either spent 1 energy or no energy to play.
Yeah. And
And
that's
I think that's a win in my books because they're literally wasting a turn where they could have played a card, put aggression on me, or save that for defense.
yeah.
And they kind of just got rid of one swing. Sure, I don't have the empower markers, but that's what Demetra's for, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah, like that's something I said from the very beginning. As soon as everybody started saying that green was more dead than it was before because now they can kill their unison, is I'm like, if I go on turn 1, play unison, and you go turn 2, smoke dragon to kill my unison, I'm okay with that because you just spent your entire turn just to kill a unison that I didn't really care about that much anyway.
yeah, and especially in that, anytime someone played Black Smoke against me and actually wiped my Unison, the second time around they play about Black Smoke that match or within that whole round, they would just take the draw too.
Just draw cards. Yeah.
They're just like yeah, there was I literally completely wasted that turn.
Yeah.
Like it was, which on the surface, yeah, it seems like a good idea. I have so many markers. Sure, it would stop certain tech cards that you might be running in your deck and it maybe threw into my side deck
Yeah.
because of it. Obviously, because that one you need a lot of markers for it. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, sure, you went -1 in hand to play that card, and sure, that's okay with me. I already made you drop one from the Frieza SR earlier. I swung on you 3 or 4 times turn 1 if I went second.
Yeah.
It's just like, sure, that's fine by me.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's take a look. I think for the most part, with the exception of like number choices, I think that you got a pretty close to standard cooler build. You got the 4 Galactic Dynasties, the 3 Nez, the 4 Salzas, which having 4 Salza, 4 Frieza, like having that like 8 removals for
Yeah.
anything 7 costs or less is phenomenal. One of the
Oh,
big things
yeah.
that drew me to the deck in the first place.
Oh, of course. When you're just like, and the best part is with how the deck works. If I have 2 energy open, which you rarely ever have, say I get Baby Hatch or something weird that it went past turn 3, I can Dodoria first to stop something from even coming into play. So stopping on play autos because it's a true hard counterplay. Then I can Salza, and then KO something 7 or less when it's played, and then Charismatic. I use 3 counterplays with 2 energy, and I get to draw with Salza because the Unison underneath would be going to the drop area, which
Exactly.
definitely was a thing where I just kind of sit on a Unison and they try to knock it down, and I'd wait till it was at like 2 markers left, and then I'd play my knee like negate with knees.
Yeah.
So they like wasted time swinging 4 times, and I play knees lock out a card, which with knees in my standard build before Nats, I ran them at like 1 or 2 and kept the other side deck. I main deck 3. Big reason was Gogeta BR
Right.
to lock out the dual attack triple strike, whatever the Exodia card.
Yeah.
Just because it's just like, yeah, sure, swing on me, but you're not going to be able to swing again.
Yeah.
Because first I'm going to hard negate it, and 2 I'm going to lock it out.
Yeah.
Because that card knees is snapped. Like
Yeah.
it's literally a Mafuba for 1 energy.
Yeah.
Like,
1 energy, stop 2 attacks, draw a card. You don't get a whole lot better than that for that kind of energy consumption.
no, that was why I bumped him up. It does suck that he only can go up to 10k, so it's not as aggressive as having like a 4th Dore or something.
Right.
But it, especially in a meta where a lot of other decks are either aggressive or completely trying to stop aggression, it's just like, yeah, I kind of want knees there for those matches. Obviously, I side out when I'm against like Beerus or anything like that, because I'm just like, I just want to put as much pressure as possible.
For sure. Definitely, definitely. And it gives you something easy that, if they swing into it, knock a couple marks off of it, it doesn't do a whole lot on your turn. So it's okay for them to knock a few markers off of it and go from there. As long as you can keep it at 1, and then on your turn you roll it up to 2, and then play your next one for free, you got your Empower already.
Yeah, that's the good thing with him too, is he +2, so you have access to going into SR Frieza often pretty easily with full markers. One thing I did just look at this list and realize, my list was slightly different than Nat's. The surprise attack freezes I took out. I did take those out because there was inconsistency issues having it at a 54 card deck.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I had it at 52 for Nats, and I realized I still have the old Frieza surprise attacks in here.
I think I ended up cutting it down to 1 for like my most recent list. Because like it's good because you have so much removal, but more than 1, especially on those like, your kill turn or the turn they're trying to kill you, having that extra 10k combo kind of hurt, because from what I've noticed, this deck doesn't leave a ton of energy open a lot. Like usually like 1, maybe 2. So
yeah, that was the thing I cut, because the main reason I was running 2, because obviously I have access to Salsa and Charismatic to KO things like just off skills.
Yeah.
The big part too was if SS4 took me to turn 4 and I needed to defend against that SR, because this deck really suffers against that SR, the scary Gogeta that you can't use skills against, because my leader skill, which is your main combo of the deck, doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I needed those freezes for that. Then I realized more in playtesting that I just have to either accept that I have to kill them by then, or because I just felt like I wasn't seeing the right pieces when I had a 54 card deck. Because if you whiff, especially on the 1-drop cooler, not find a Unison, it really hurts.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like, you don't have to worry too much about the Gogeta, because if you just put enough pressure on like turn 2 and turn 3, that it's just a bad decision for them to try and play that on their turn.
It's true.
Because the amount of pressure you can put, if they play that on the next turn, you can, make sure you have the combo power and then force them to Z Awaken and then just stop attacking and then just pass the turn. And then on the next turn, you can usually just kill them because they're tapped out. As long as you can make sure that 30k is not going to kill you on the crackback, then you're all right.
I'm saying that's the problem, is you need your Paraguses in hand for that, because it's just like, my 0-5k combos are really just Unisons I'm sacking. So,
so let's see. I think from what my other than like my build that I played more hand control-y, I think the only big difference was I debated on it a lot, but I ended up actually cutting Demigra from my list completely, because I wanted more of like the early hand control stuff, especially against the red decks that drew 800 cards a turn. I wanted to be able to more aggressively hand control them that way. And then because of the hand control as well, I also was on 4 of the Boss Monster Cooler, because it also makes them discard a card and it's a double striker, which is super good. So this is the list I tweaked earlier. I did add the new cards in. They're not on Deck Planet yet, but I've got them uh, proxied on Deck Planet for what they are. Uh, so this is what my list was. For the most part, I did have a third Nez and a third SS3 Gogeta that I cut down, and then so these dark Brolys are what the new cooler Unison would be, the one drop, because I think that should definitely be a 4 of in the deck. And then these Rosies are the new King Cold.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, this is the list that I was running, which is a lot more hand control. And against most decks, I can, even the red decks, if I'm on the play, I can get them down to, I mean, I played it against you. Like, I can get you down to like 2, 3 cards in hand on like turn 3. And at that point, it's super hard to defend against.
Yeah. Yeah, your take on the deck is definitely get you down low, then swing in like typical hand control usually is. And now with that King Cold too, which I assumed would be better for your version of the deck, I was kind of leaning more away from King Cold. Just it is nice. It's basically a 1-drop 20k. Is it double blocker? Like you could dual blocker if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's basically a dual blocker. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I think that one is going to be kind of hit or miss. It's going to be depending on playstyle whether you want to use it or not. But the cooler is the big one. Like I think that is definitely like
that
4 of.
100% four of. I definitely cut at least one of my Dorays.
Oh yeah, because just for free off leader you get a dual attacker, and then if you overwhelm, because we both run 3 of the Dark Temptation Toa. So
which you basically have to. Like that card is too good not to.
Yeah.
When I originally ran this list, I ran it with I believe 1 or 2 for the first store championship I brought it to, and it was just like, sure, I won, and it was like the first set that it was the first like tournament that this set came out, and I was just like, wait, the Toa is so good, like.
It's so
like
good.
why wouldn't I want to play this like every turn or every other turn?
Yeah,
because you get so many in the drop. So I was saying that where it's just like, yeah, there's so many instances where you just would be like, yeah, I put this many unisons to the drop. Like on your awakening turn, you're putting like almost 3 unisons in the drop.
Yeah,
and then between like other cards and whatnot, you just here's Toa. Or if you sequence it where you have enough unisons of the drop, tap 1 for cooler first, make him discard 1, play Toa, make him discard 1, and then you got a 20k and a 20k double and a 15k swing. Like I think that's super good. And then now having this guy's a dual attack.
Oh yeah,
and then he also he also puts his Z energy. So a way to build Z energy in the deck, which is kind of a little hard to build Z energy in the deck normally.
With so many unisons, it's almost impossible. Like the last couple times I ran it, I was like, I'm not even going to bother putting a Z deck on the table. I'm never going to play any of the cards anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like out of Nats, I don't think I played a Z card once. I did add in a Z card after, which might have helped me, being that 1-drop green Goku. Because I didn't realize you could run that in just any green deck. It's 15k for 1 energy, and it can't be like removed for. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need that one more attack, and that's why I've been running that Goku in a lot of them.
That Goku definitely, I think, is slept on. I didn't even like. It didn't even come to my mind. I was like, Jiren, Frieza, Vegeta, just in case you need to awaken.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like now, like with the new cooler, I feel like on your awaken turn, you can go, siblings cruelty, and then cooler to put one of the cards into the Z energy, and then Dark Temptation Toa, and that's 5 attacks right there off 2 energy.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
And if you awaken on turn 2, that means you go into you can pass with 1 energy up or have a dual attack, a single attack, a buff leader attack, and a double strike attack.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the deck too, because it's very easy to awaken turn 2, and you put a lot of pressure there. But I'd say literally maybe 8 or 7 times out of 10, when you awaken turn 3, it is your kill turn. Like you have so much pressure with 4 energy in that deck, where you're also getting a double leader effect from sending a unison to the drop. So you get a draw from both of those, you draw from your leader swing, and you're drawing either off the Unisons or making them discard, or with this new one having it get dual attack and charge against the energy, which it's just like the amount of pressure you're getting there, just one energy here, one energy there, it's crazy. And now with that new Z battle card for the deck,
Yeah, the Return of the Destroyer. The fact that
yeah,
like on like your Awaken turn, if you wanted to do that, you can play it for two energy and one Z energy because it reduces by one for each Unison in your drop, which is makes it super good. And I was actually thinking about it. If you, my line of thought for the new build would be wait till turn 3 to Awaken,
yep, 100%.
so that you could have the Unisons in the drop. You could pay 2, bring the Golden Frieza out, Awakened, have 2 energy up, and then you could pay 2. I know it might seem not great, but if you have Golden Frieza in your hand, you pay 2, Golden Frieza comes out for 2 with 1 marker, but it's got the Empower 4, so you bring 5 markers over, and you could still roll it down and swing 2 30k triple strike attacks.
Are you saying this on turn 3?
Turn 3.
Turn 3 wouldn't work because you need 4 more energy for that effect, right?
You have to have 4 more.
They give your leaders green Frieza clan, you have 4 more energy, you gotta play.
You are correct. You are correct.
So, to be fair, I don't think that's a bad effect. I think it's nice if you need the extra energy turn 4.
Right.
Then again, like I said, I don't play the 3-drop Unison a lot. I think just literally having this turn 3 Awaken, tapping 2, playing this down, going into your whole shenanigans of playing a Unison either off the leader's skill if you're still at 5 life and you want to rip the life and go there, but to make sure you're getting the Unison going to the drop, draw 1 on both sides. Then you're also getting this guy where you get to wipe something, ignoring barrier once per turn from that effect, which is
huge.
Insane. And then you get to and then he gets plus 5k. So he's a 25k double strike. It's just like, what the hell? Sure, he doesn't have barrier and he has deflect instead, which I'm kind of glad he doesn't have. Like, he has deflect instead of barrier. I know God Sealing's going to be gone, but there's obviously a lot of like lower end counterplays that people are using, and of course most Unisons, most Z cards, it's all deflect, and the ones that have barrier, they're like, oh my god, this is insane. It's got both, but I think this card would be super snapped if it had protection on the field.
Oh, that'd be ridiculous.
Being able to ignoring barrier wipe something when you're already going to draw a card off that from your leader effect, and getting the extra 5k, I think this card is so good. I think the Cooler is probably like a 10 out of 10. This was probably like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, even if you only get it out like once per game, because like I said, I mean, I feel like you're still going to go like super aggressive, and I agree. Like, even if you decide to only play like a 1 of the Golden Frieza in the Z deck, you're still going to play 4 of the Cooler. Like, no question about it. Like, if you're going to play the deck, you have to have 4 of those.
Yeah, that Cooler is just that is going to be on par with your SR Frieza. I think the SR Frieza still edges it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Just from being 20k and making them discard 1.
Yes.
And just the ability to empower. Actually, does it empower 3 as well? Do they both empower 3?
Let's see. Frieza is in power 3, and Cooler is in power 3. Yep.
Yeah, so they both stack more. They can take over more markers, which is nice if you want to go into Golden or if you want to go into Gogeta in your case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're definitely both of them ridiculously good support. King Cold, obviously, with your version of the build, I think works nicer. For me, it's kind of just like, I don't know where to fit that in, where it actually be beneficial. I feel like just having the Coolers and this Frieza would definitely be a huge boost for my more aggro style of the deck.
Which honestly, like, after seeing the Cooler get revealed, I've been thinking more today and yesterday that I should probably just going to, push the hand control aspect of it, like dial it back some and just go more low to the ground aggro with it, because this guy just gives you a lot more tools than you had before with just the one single card. Like,
that's the thing too, right? Because even if you're dialing back hand control, because that's kind of how mine is, where it's just like hand control is a side effect of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So obviously the Kaioken Goku TP, a huge boost for the deck. I try to look for anything green that comes out for 1.
Yeah.
That comes up for one crit 15k and makes them discard one. Insanely good. The other effect I think I might have used once to give it a boost. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But playing that, playing the Frieza SR, the one drop Unison, playing the Cooler, playing the Toa, all of them are making them discard one.
Yeah.
Like all that, but I'm also using those to swing as well. And the thing with that is, sure, you're swinging, you're going to give them cards from their life to their hand. But what happens when they start going under 4? They don't want to start taking cards anymore. They're going to start comboing, which is another form of this aggro hand control that I make them keep discarding cards, especially when I'm swinging with Frieza, where Frieza's a 20k, and there's like, I have to use a super combo, I have to ditch 2 cards from my hand to stop this attack. And that's where the real hand control starts coming out, where they're just like, okay, he's making me discard this here, this there. Oh, I got to combo this and this. And it's just like, oh, you have 1 card left in hand? Okay, I'm going to play Toa now. And then it just goes that whole aspect where now they're in such a deep hole from comboing and me making them discard 1 here, 1 there, that it's just like, oh god, am I playing against Cell Surge here? What's going on? Like, I thought I could play this game. And then obviously now we have the Z deck and that where if they're comboing, they're going to have access to that. But you got charismatic. A lot of stuff has deflect. Not everything has barrier in the Z deck.
Yeah.
Except Beerus, which you save the Doria for those if they don't have a floodgate.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how do you think that with the new additions that Cooler will stack up against what's coming in the new meta? With the ban list and how things might change, things like that?
Like, no God Ceiling is, I guess, nice for the 4-drop, but it still comes down as 1. So there's still so many counterplays that hit it.
Yeah.
That's kind of your, like, naked card in the deck. Obviously, so is Toa, but it's just like, sure, I paid literally nothing for this. Have fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of stuff like Sin Shenron is still the one where it's still a coin flip. If you're gonna, like, especially if they're going first, you can do some shenanigans where I've played this deck literally on 2 energy so that they can't give their SR barrier. Like, it's just like, I need 3 or more energy, so you can just wait. Like, and I actually did have success with that. It's just a hard matchup. I think SS4, especially if you have Dodoria early, Frieza and Salza, that matchup can be pretty easy. As long as you're stopping them from comboing cards off their field, hard negating, or either popping the cards in the field and they're forced to use them from hand, they cannot accrue a giant hand against you, which is nice. And then you just go in for your whole aggro shenanigans, and they have to start being the one like, how many cards do you have in hand? I got 8, buddy. How many you got? 4? Okay, good. Good. Crimson getting hit doesn't really affect Cooler. I think Cooler already had a good matchup against it. All the blue decks, I don't know about Gohan. I haven't really play tested much against Gohan. I play tested against a suicide build one of my teammates Beard made, where it was just all those take a life crit cards. Like you just had a bunch of those restanding energy with the deck and everything.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
did fine against that, but it was just, I haven't faced an actual new kind of version of Gohan with this, so I don't know how that goes, because obviously that's also an aggro deck. But
so what? I feel like the thing that the deck may or may not, depending on whether you see Dormant, be weak against is other aggro decks, because of the fact that before Awaken you can't combo very well.
Yeah.
So for like the first turn or two, you mostly just kind of have to take whatever hits they swing your way. If they choose to ignore Unison, because I think most people that are smart are going to know that, I can waste time trying to kill this Unison every single turn when they're just going to free play another one on the next turn. It doesn't matter. So like, keeping the Unison low on markers is good, but like trying to kill the Unison every turn is just, a bad strategy.
No, that is a big defense, especially against people that are inexperienced with this deck, like playing against Cooler, which was another main factor why I brought it to Nats, because like I said earlier, like in other videos, that it was a surprise factor. Like, there were some people that literally I was sitting across from them, and they looked at me so confused. They're just like, "Wait, what?"
What
Let me
does this
read
deck
that.
do?
Yeah, there's like, and then I actually had one guy that was, "What does Empower do?" I was like, "Oh, you're in for a treat."
I'm sorry.
I'm like,
I'm
"That's this
sorry for you,
entire
buddy.
deck."
Yeah.
So it's it's definitely like in your case where you're saying it's aggro finding dormant. That definitely does help a lot. But early on too, if they can't apply like crit pressure, which now that that haze is going away is going to be nice.
Yeah.
You still kind of want to be around the four, like to get around the four-ish range by turn 2, turn 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, sure, you're helping my kill turn. So
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
like pretty consistently, like even with my build as well, like I do the hand control thing, but it's still because of the fact that you play what like 18 one-drop unisons. Like you can still, even in my build, I can put the hand control to the side and just go full aggro with them, and
Mhm.
like both of our builds could kill turn 2, turn 3, depending on how the cards fall.
Yeah. No, I think that's also ever the good old saying, the best defense is a good
It's a good
offense too,
offense.
right? So like literally if you're swinging like hell on them and they're forced to use their pieces that they're going to use against you next turn as combo instead, like sure, that's good for me. Waste that, put that in your Z deck or put that in the drop. That's completely fine. Which which is a nice thing too against SS3 because I was scared of um the 6-drop SR from the Angel Coup deck. I was like, oh, if he cracks out that, I'm gonna need something to ignore Bear because I don't put Fated Rivals in my main deck.
Yeah, because like
And
you
then I
literally
realized,
just
like,
can't play that
wait,
card.
yeah, I'm just like, wait, if I'm swinging on them, and I'm swinging at least over, like, if I'm swinging 20k or 15k when they're unawakened, they're gonna have to combo 2 cards.
Yeah.
They're gonna be forced to put something to drop. They're not gonna be able to play that card.
Oh
I'm
yeah, for sure.
completely scared for no reason.
Like what's the best way to to win a fight is no be there. Like you can be
Yeah,
afraid all day of what they're gonna do on like turn 3, turn 4, but if they never see it, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Which is
And
like the mentality I went in like in the side events at nationals when I decided to pull my green decks out that I did bring with me and played like Cooler and Majin Vegeta and stuff like that. Is I was killing on turn 3 every game, so it didn't matter what my opponent could do on turn 3, 4, 5 because they were already dead.
yeah, that's completely true. It's I think the deck, like as for things to watch out for, is against other green decks. I feel that is a big one for Cooler. Like if you run, that's another thing too. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of green and nets, green
Yeah,
and black. The people aren't like viewing them as decks anymore.
yeah,
So that's why I'm just like, you know what? As long as I don't run into someone that's stacking 4 dormants, because obviously dormant and there's a couple blue floodgates that obviously you have to pay taxes for, but Dormant and Hatch, I think, are the only 2 cards that basically completely stop the turn. I know
yeah.
Gogeta has its own now, but that's a big card where like, I can't swing like with my unisons, with my leader, like it's just one more attack. Everything else is kind of locked to either battle cards, like not being able to swing with Nimbus or Mecha Freeze, everything besides
Oh
unisons.
yeah,
Like
like
anytime I like that one match that I had against Trunks Vegeta was just I saw him charge Mecha Frieza, Forbidden Power, Nimbus, like every single floodgate he had.
because it doesn't
None of
do
them
anything.
worked. Yeah, it's just like sure,
Like
like
yeah, Cooler like 100% just laughs at like yellow decks altogether because like they just can't. All of their floodgate, like not even their good floodgates, all of their floodgates just don't stop unisons at all.
which thank God.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which I mean,
it
hopefully with the bans and the hits and stuff like that with God Seal and with Crimson, I think yellow is going to be a little more prevalent now, which is even better for this deck because it's just going to be that much better against the field.
yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. Um, the thing with yellow though is there are people that'll be like that where there's a one-track mind that oh the unisons are what's going to attack me, which of course yes, this is a unison based deck. They also aren't thinking of all the one drop searcher coolers that you're playing the Double Striker, the Toa. Like a lot of the games, I have 4 or 5 battle cards when I knew I could swing with them.
Yeah.
Because they're 15k still. That's still more, even if they don't do a damage, which I usually don't combo on them. I just swing. Sure, they could use some kind of like Beerus Ball bottom deck, Beerus destroys or whatever bottom deck it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm using it for them to waste a card.
Exactly.
You either waste a negate or you waste a combo card against it.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. And if I need to cut life, they're there to do that as well too, because they're almost always 15k, and they just put pressure on. Same thing with Toa. Discard 1, swing 15. My leader's also now at 20k. It's just not everything's relying on the Unison, but it's nice when people kind of focus, especially when they're trying to like KO the Unisons really like hard, like how you were saying earlier, where people just try to knock out markers. Like, I have 5 markers on it, swing 5 times, please.
Yeah. Please,
you're just saving
swing
me time
5.
to set up.
Please swing 5 times into my Unison this turn.
Yeah, and then you got rid of the last marker. Perfect. I'm gonna draw a card. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just one of the things that like just trying to kill the Unison is so neg for the opponent that it's not even worth the effort, which makes it that much better for a build that just I will sit here with 3, 4, 5 markers every time a Unison gets dropped.
Mm-hmm. But it's a thing too, especially like blue and I guess other green decks. They don't always want to go right for your life, so they want to go for a resource first. And sure, the Unison markers are a resource for this deck, but it's not as crucial as decks like GT, where if you KO if you get rid of that Unison, the deck like struggles so hard to get back on its feet, especially if it's not awakened. I'm trying to think another deck like that would suffer hard from that. Like SS4, obviously, just you think
not getting
okay,
that
I don't want to get more
turn.
cards.
Yeah,
I don't want to get more cards. Let's swing into the Unison. This thing's gonna be lethal after. Let's get rid of it. Like they'll have that mentality. It's like, okay, I'm not letting them plus cards from their life, and I'm dealing with the board state so that I have more time to set up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like opposite and cooler. It's like, yeah, sure. I already built 5 markers in 1 turn. Go nuts, because I could build 5 markers again really easily.
Yeah, and with most of these, especially with like the Neds and stuff like that, it's so easy to just, if it stays on 1, go to your turn, play that. Now I'm up to 4 markers off one play. So like your whole turn was just wasted.
Oh yeah, that's just how it is. That's why I love the deck. I think it kind of just went really dormant ever since Zenkai came out.
Yep.
And everyone's just, aggro deck, red's king, let's go nuts.
Green's dead.
Yeah, green's dead. Turtle School, what's this deck? King Piccolo, sure I can spam out guys, but they're not gonna last. This ain't Red King Piccolo, blah blah. And I'm just sitting here like, why are we doing cooler? I think, don't get me wrong, I know you've played against me with Gogeta deck, which I think is a contender for being a good green deck. But just having such a weird, unique deck that's so centered around a mechanic that has more answers now, but those answers really don't affect the deck. I think if you face green with Dormant and SGR, those definitely hurt more than like a Black Smoke, just because 1 energy for them and they're wiping 3 markers. It's just like, they're getting me low. Now they know that they can play a card and not have Salza come out, even if Charismatic comes out.
Yeah.
So, I think going back on like difficulties with the deck, green still stands out to me of being like a hard matchup for, which is funny enough because it's just like people don't think of green as being anything. Like it's all hand control, whatever, it'll put you to sleep. But especially with the new support with like SGR and just, I think even. Like Gogeta, it's an aggro deck. Like they're turning it more into this kind of like light version of red aggro with little hand control aspects to the newer cards, and obviously the Unison marker removing from when they started the whole Unison block, and it was just these giant SRs being the Maju Vegeta and the Goat tanks, where you're just like, Yeah, sure, I'll remove one marker here, or with
Yeah.
Maj Vegeta's case, 3 markers, but it's a what, 4 drop?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, sure. Now you do it for 1 energy. I think it's giving green a new identity to the whole thing, which just complements Cooler really well.
For sure. Like, it's so funny because for the longest time, when people thought about decks they had to worry about going into events, they're like, here's like the top tier deck, so you have to worry about, and way, way, way down here is maybe a green deck that could give me trouble if I see any. And then, like,
Mm-hmm.
I sat here today all day and laughed as I was scrolling through Facebook and looking at like the marketplace and things like that. How many people were like looking for a cooler core who wants to sell me one? And I'm
Yep.
just sitting here laughing, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, it's so great. It's so great seeing so many people are like, I need to buy a green deck. I need to buy cooler. I need something good. I want to buy cooler. I was like, yeah,
Yep, that 100%. It's funny. After I met some guy at Nats who saw me playing Cooler. He's like, dude, that's really sick. And then after added me on Facebook, and I think like I don't know, after I posted the Cooler list that I had for Nats, he's just like, you selling that Cooler core? And I'm just like, hell no, this
no,
deck's way too fun.
definitely not.
But yeah, I saw a couple of those posts on the Facebook group. People, okay, who's selling Cooler cores, or Bojack? That's another one too, because
Yeah,
I think they got really good support as well.
they really did. I think that deck might actually have a chance to come back and doing something. Um,
Yeah, I'm that's my guess for Worlds as Big O's pick is gonna be Blue Bojack now because of that.
you think you will?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's his favorite deck, and
yeah.
now that the support actually seems really good, I think that's what he's running.
I think my boy Bruce, who I know for a while back, him and Big O had a Bojack mirror match, and he's just chomping at the bit. Like, he saw the reveals, and he's like, I hope Big O plays that because I want a rematch on the mirror match there, like with the new support on the Bojack. So we'll have to see if we can make that happen one day because I'd love to see that again.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think all the support, like, Cooler was a really good. I don't know if I'd say great, but it's a really good deck, and it was a really good rogue choice before. But now I think it could potentially be like a good meta choice. And I think the new support fully pulled Cooler out of rogue status, and it's going to be a real deck to contend with because of how much pressure that just that one Cooler Unison can add there. Just that
yeah,
one 15K dual attack for free every turn.
yeah. That's 15K dual attack, and with the whole thing of going on Toa and going on the Z battle card and going on the Cooler 4 drop, it gets to burst one.
Yeah,
Which
you just
it's just
constantly
like,
refill your
okay,
drop.
yep, let's just find a new one here. Oh, I can put a Z energy there, play my Frieza for 2. I got more Unisons in my drop, bursted an extra one there. Oh, I'll play Toe after. Like, there's a little more consistency added to the deck with that one drop.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Which makes
Like,
you want to, like, push it. I think I might push the deck to 54 just from those Unisons
yeah,
and like taking out maybe one of the doorways and stuff like that. Because
something
now
like
that
that.
I'm
Yeah,
bursting one, I'm gonna be able to see more stuff in my drop, and I don't know. I think that like I don't know what would have been a better choice for Cooler. I on the reveals I knew it was either gonna be dual or double. I thought it was gonna be double just because I guess I'm blind with how blurry it was.
yeah,
But either way, I think dual might even be better, especially in this format. Dual seems to be what has been working better in
yeah.
most cases. I know against yellow might be the only difference with more people running release from evil. And that's another thing that is a little wonky against this deck because you're not able to use, if they do it on your leader, you can't use your leader's combo ability. So that's always not fun. It doesn't really affect it too much because this deck doesn't usually have a hard time with yellow, but
Yeah,
that's another thing to look out for.
for sure. Yeah, I think it definitely does add the consistency that the deck, I mean, didn't need, but it's going to just bump it up that extra level now. So, is there anything else you wanted to say in closing about the deck, or going forward, or anything else about like the choices, the picks you made, anything else you might change?
Obviously Z deck is going to be changed around. We need to put at least 2 of those freezes in.
Yeah.
Uh I honestly think I might. Maybe I just go one Vegeta, two of the like SS Gokus, because I still think it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Just being like access to having an extra attack be 15k and kind of not be stopped. Um, I know it doesn't have deflect, but still, in most cases it's hitting the board. Um, I don't know. I seen especially at Nats, there was one other guy playing Cooler. Didn't get to talk to him, but I saw that he was running Faded Rivals.
I, I don't know.
I don't. I think it's too much for the deck.
It's
Like,
too hard because like you only get
yeah,
what, maybe 6 cards if you run two, well maybe 8. I guess if you're running 2 of the Faded Rivals, 2 of the SGR, and then your 4 super combos, you have 8 targets for it. But I think that's a little too linear for it to fit in this package.
yeah. I ran it as a side just in case there was something that like I needed to get rid of
Right.
because
Something that was really scary.
yeah, something that was really scary. But I was even thinking of it like, what's super scary that has bear that I need to get rid of? Like, sure, everyone like points to slug, and that's black smoke deals with that, and whatever. I was kind of leaning towards what does slug really do to my
Well,
deck?
that's what I was about to say. Is
All
like
my draws from the leader.
every bit of draw is from the leader effect. So slug is
Yeah.
just, it's another thing that Cooler just laughs at yellow decks.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's nothing that I'm forced to use in energy. Don't get me wrong, slug in the right situations completely kills decks. I played on a command stream, and I was playing that green Gogeta deck. Yeah, I couldn't play a single thing when he put
Yeah,
that slug down. Not a
that
single card.
that deck definitely. But the good thing is with that Gogeta deck, it has so much inherent, barrier removal. Anyway, with the boss monsters, things like that. So
That's the problem, is if you don't have the 6-drop to go into the boss monster, you're never getting to that 6-drop.
yeah, that new
Um,
ruling makes it a little bit different. But that's another deck that I'm working on, which I think could be a contender as well. But that'll be another video that I'll be
Another
doing
video.
soon. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a super sweet deck. Even when it was revealed, I always like going to the weirder decks, and it seems like green always has the weirder decks. And I really slept on the original SR, the one drop SR of the deck, and I know everyone was going crazy for that Golden Frieza because everyone tries to tech it into a green deck that already has a Unison.
Yeah.
Which I think people put too much faith in that card. I think it's a really good card, but a lot of people expect it to come.
Yeah.
It's just the amount of 1-drops you can play and make them discard here, there, swing here, there is what really carries the deck. And that 1-drop SR Frieza, I still think is king for the deck. I think the Cooler is an amazing secondary to it. Like, it's your new kind of lower end killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Frieza playing it, make him discard one, swinging 20k, and you like stack so many markers on it. It's just like, come on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's your MVP of the deck. If you can't, my thing, anybody playing the deck, especially if you're going second, make sure you have a Unison that you can, like a Demigra or something that you don't worry about an auto or anything like that,
Yeah.
and that frees in your hand. Because you're swinging 3 times on your turn 1 with having the Demigra down, plusing, swinging 15, swinging with your leader, taking a life, sacking the Demigra, and playing the Frieza, and making them discard 1. It's the best turn 1 and the most. I'm trying to think here. What's a good word for it? The least amount of brain tax you can have with the deck, because your turn 1, that's what you want every time going second. And I really like going second with this deck because you do not have to worry about a Unison getting robbed or anything like that. Because you're just like doing this, 3 damage. If they combo, they got 3 cards in hand, and that's fine by me.
And like with the exception of like smoke, like, are you gonna really swing 4 attacks into Frieza on your turn 2 just to try and kill it? Because it's gonna be at 4 markers going into their turn.
Yeah. So it's just like, sure, go nuts.
Right, have fun.
Yeah.
But
that's my whole takeaway.
But yeah, it's a really great deck and it's super fun. And I'm hoping that to see more of you playing it in the future. You're definitely gonna see me playing it more in the future. Anybody that for some reason has slept under a rock and has never seen your stream or your YouTube, I will put the link to both of those in the description of this video. So they 100% need to check it out. You stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays?
I was gonna say the day starts with T. I'm streaming.
Today.
I think. There, 2 day, ton day. I don't know.
But yeah,
One of
make
those
sure to
damn
check it
days.
out. Like, I think I've been watching you for about almost a year now, and like I never miss a stream. Like I don't watch a ton of Dragon Ball streams, but yours is one that I'm always on there. Like it's super good. It's really entertaining content. But anybody that's not already following, make sure you check the link in the description to jump on there and follow as well.
Thank you so much.
No problem. But I think that'll about wrap it up. I really, really appreciate you cutting out some time for me tonight.
No problem, man.
And hopefully we'll get tons of people that see this. And next time a big event comes around, there'll be 30 cooler decks playing there. But hopefully I can avoid the mirror match.
Yeah, hopefully you avoid the mirror, and I'll have the counter built for cooler.
There you go.
That'll be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convince everybody
and then kill it.
Yeah. Convince everybody that it's a great deck and then play something else.
Yeah, exactly. I'll craft my own version of Crimson where it just goes under the radar and
There
there's
you
like
go.
9 people playing it and top tables like, what?
You told me cooler was good. What are you doing?
Yeah, you told me this is cool. What's wrong with you? It's just like you've been deceived.
Ah. So, unless there's anything else that you would like to say, I think that'll wrap us up for tonight.
No, you already gave me a good plug there. Obviously, go subscribe to your channel. That's a big one. I know you're posting like a bunch of videos every day. There's definitely a catalog, probably already more videos than I have posted because I'm very horrible for posting on YouTube because I usually like to do let's say not complete like streams, so I like edit them and then I'm just like, this one sucks and this, and I'm just I always stop myself from posting things if like the webcam's laggy, which has been a huge problem earlier, and I don't know, I think hopefully more of those in the new year, just more gameplay stuff, because I definitely need to get more of that stuff out.
Yeah,
Because everything else always is harder to come by.
I try and post a video about every other day, if not every day. I've been lacking a little bit lately because
Holidays.
Well, I had an incident before the holidays where I fell and cracked my tailbone, so it's actually pretty painful to sit right now. So I've been
sorry to hear that. I didn't even know.
Yeah, like I didn't tell too many people, but like it's just a little bit harder to sit lately, so I haven't been putting as many videos out, but I've still been trying to at least attempt to stay relevant in my little itty bitty channel. But I do try and put out a video about every other day at least, so some kind of gameplay, even if it's just, me and a buddy just hopping on Discord and having a match for fun.
Yeah, I need to start doing more of that. But hopefully you recover soon. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
hopefully the holidays weren't too messed up.
Nah, not too bad, but it is what it is. We still had a good holidays with the family and all that kind of good stuff. So
it's good to hear.
Yeah. But that will be the end. I appreciate everybody that watched. Again, make sure to check all the links in the description and do all the likes and subscribes and comments on everything that you can. Everyone, have a good night.
Peace out.